Dr. Venkat, thank you so much for joining Industry Talk with CV Magazine. Firstly, once again, many congratulations on the new role. You've been a pure product development and a manufacturing person, research-oriented person all through your many over to nearly 3 decades of experience. So tell us a little about how does it feel to be on this side, looking at trucks and buses and construction equipment as the new business head at Mahindra.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting transformation, Ashish, because from my perspective, I have worked for many decades on the product side, both at Mahindra as well as side. And
Right.
done that stint, I think it's a very meaningful assignment for me, what I've taken up to get closer to the customer and really understand how to better serve their needs. So it's really exciting for me, and I look forward to creating more impact than what we've been doing thus far. So clearly market trends are changing. There's a lot of evolving needs of the customer. Freight rates have not really gone up, so there's a lot of pressure from the
Right.
customer side, and regulations
Right.
that have come in significantly that are added to the cost. I mean, it's the right thing to do in terms of regulations, emissions, as well as otherwise, safety regulations, for instance. It's
Right.
definitely the right thing to do for the market, but that has also resulted in the costs of machines, whether construction equipment or trucks, going up. So how do we really, hit the sweet spot, where we are working with the customers, and how do we enable their growth, thereby enabling our growth in the market?
Right.
So
Right.
it's a it's
Right.
a it's a very interesting business proposition, and I look forward to working with all stakeholders on that.
Right. We are right behind you. Best wishes as always. Now, since we are at Bauma CONEXPO, you are at the venue on ground. What is the pulse over there? What is the sentiment over there? At this year?
I think it's really exciting because this is my first expo in this role, whether it's trucks or construction equipment. So
Right.
looking at it from my perspective, I'm very excited to be here. But stepping back and looking at the number of exhibitors that are here,
Hmm.
in Noida, I think it really speaks volumes about the growth potential of our country, the track that we are on, as well
Right.
as what it means for our customers, in terms of their achieving prosperity, and how can we as OEMs also enable that. So it's
Right.
fantastic to see the range of products, machines, on display on the ground here. I've been here only a few minutes, or a
Right.
half an hour, 45 minutes. So I'm
Right.
yet to visit many of the exhibits as well. But a preliminary view says that we're very much on the right track. We've got lots of players that have come into the industry, and that's going to make competition very intense, and it's going to make us sharpen our pencils in terms of how can we deliver better value to the customer, both in terms of product performance, profitability, as well as after sales service, which are very important in
Right.
this
Right.
area of business. So overall, the India growth story, I think, is playing out. I mean, there have been bumps on the road, temporary bumps, I would say, because of
Yes.
things like
Yes.
national elections, state elections, and things like that, as you know.
Right.
But
Right.
then overall, I think the growth story, the India growth story, is very intact, and we can see it here.
Right. I can sense the excitement. Uh, this whole Bauma Expo is now against the backdrop of the CEV5 rollout, which is just around the corner.
Yeah.
We can't proceed further without asking your opinion on what are the implications on the product development side as well as on the business side. How are customers ready to absorb this change? And of course, then I will lead into the following question.
Yeah. I think clearly CV5, was, coming closely on the heels of CV4, right? And it sort of mirrors what's been happening on the on-road vehicles as well, with
Yes.
BS4, BS6, and 6.2, and so on, OBD2. So I think the government rightfully is pushing for the right kind of regulations, in
Hmm.
terms of making these machines cleaner and safer, right? Because
Right.
not only
Right.
the emission side, but there's a lot of other regulations which have come in terms of CEV5, which are aligning our standards to global standards. So in that sense, there is a lot in it from a development standpoint, right? From
Right.
development
Right.
of the industry.
Right.
We have no choice, and we are a willing participant in terms of making that progress, because we
Right.
also believe it's the right thing to do. Now, obviously, on the product development side, this entails, more technology that's gone into the development of the machines, of the CEV5 machines, in terms of making combustion better, in terms of getting more horsepower, getting more torque out of our
Right.
engine, out of our powertrains, and of course making them cleaner, right? We've
Right.
also worked on cabins, and new cabin, AC cabin, so on and so
Yes.
forth, better ergonomics. And so there is a lot that we have done, and I'm sure other OEMs have also done their part in terms of, you
Right.
know, making the products a lot more competitive and making it, from a customer perspective, very focused on productivity for the customer, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
think from product development side, as I said, a lot has gone into it, but that's only part of the story. From the market side, I think there's a lot that's happened, and we've been a significant player in terms of our telematics solution, for instance, IMAX that we offer,
Right.
that we have offered, that we are currently offering in the CV4 as well. So I
Right.
think that is a very industry-leading solution which can help the customer really improve productivity. Help real-time health monitoring of the machines,
Exactly.
and as well as provide prognostic information about how to maintain the machine and how to prevent failures as well. And
Right.
as you're probably aware, we service that with a what do you call, a
The on-road.
technical
Yes.
center back in our head
Yes.
office in Pune, where
Right.
we monitor every one of these vehicles, on-road trucks as well as off-road construction equipment machines, so that we
Right.
can do the right thing for the customer. So if you look at CV5 and what it means, and I think it means a lot in terms of how can we enable productivity within the context of improved regulations, emissions, as well as non-emissions related regulations. And the focus again is on making the customer more productive so that
Right.
they can grow and we can grow obviously along with them. And there's
Right.
enough evidence. And the other aspect of making our norms more competitive with, or more or less in line with global standards, is that we have opportunity to take our machines elsewhere, to other markets, which we've been
Right.
progressing, as well as, of course, we face more competition in terms of other
Mm.
players from outside, coming and playing in India, right? And
Right. Right.
that in general is a very healthy thing, right? Because it's going to help us, become better, right?
Right.
So we look forward to, having this kind of competition, global competition, and
Right.
thereby making us even more competitive than we currently are.
Right. Right. A word on the base engines currently at your disposal, because CV5 obviously is directly linked to being applicable to a wide range of engines from,
Yeah.
as I understand, it's less than 8 kilowatt to larger than 560 kilowatt. So a word on how you managed to squeeze and consolidate your engine portfolio that will hold you in good stead in the coming years.
Yeah, I mean, we are actually very fortunate that we have core expertise as Mahindra and Mahindra, right? That we are able to leverage, and
Right.
out of our technical centers, the largest one being in MRV Chennai, we are
Right.
able to leverage the engine team's expertise in terms of further development, and these are engine teams that do engines for across the globe, right? If we look at our engines that are used in our CE machines, these engines and the team that works on these engines, they work on projects for very, very diverse markets, including for the US market, not
Right.
construction equipment. I'm saying the core
Yes.
engine expertise. right?
Right.
So
Right.
we come
Right.
at it with a lot of expertise, core expertise that we are able to leverage. And we are able to basically in the CV5, if you notice, we are able to get more output out of the same
Right.
3.5 liter MDI platforms, and
Right.
that has gone into all our machines, making them a lot more capable and a lot more profitable as well. So both
Right.
in terms of output as well as in terms of fuel efficiency. So I think this is a great story where we are able to leverage the M&M home team in terms
Right.
of
Right.
delivering our products. And we've actually been ready from the CV5 perspective for almost a year. We have used
Yes.
this time to get almost 6,000 hours of real world usage, in the hands of customer, and that's helped us obviously identify some of the niggles that are there at the start of any new technology. And
Right.
glad to note that with over 6,000 hours cumulatively of testing in the hands of customer, we've been able to sort that out as well. So
Right.
these are
Right.
some of the benefits that we will bring to the table when come January. We are basically rolling out our machines for customers to use.
Right. You briefly touched upon the cost of compliance that obviously comes along. And
Yeah.
from what I learned, it's in the range of 10 to 15%. Tell us how you've been managing those costs, and how do you shield the customer from a pass-through that goes down well with them.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a very valid point. As I briefly touched upon earlier, any kind of regulation change, comes with some increased level of technology adaptation, and clearly we have to bring more performance and more profitability to the customer, right? That's
Right.
how
Right.
that's how at a higher acquisition cost, they can still make sense of CV5 compared to
Right.
CV4 or any of the earlier regimes, for instance. Because as you know, all these machines are going to be running, at the same time, right? And so the customer is going
Yes.
to get a single rate for their job. So
Right.
so CV5 machines have to be obviously more productive. They have to be more
Right.
capable, and that's the way we've looked at it as well, in terms of both
Right.
performance output as well as fuel efficiency as well as telematic solutions. So all of these are getting more powerful, in CV5 compared to earlier, so that the customer can actually do more with these machines.
Right. Right. Now, you obviously are focusing on keeping the acquisition costs under a check, but there is limitations. So obviously, the focus then goes on to the entire life cycle and the various touch points of customer. You try to bring down the total cost of ownership. So any
Yeah.
more efficiencies added on that front, or have you taken the cue from your on-road mileage guarantees and uptime guarantees for the CV segment similarly?
Yeah, so I think the service intervals again are something that we have worked on, right? From
Right.
from 2 to 7 servicings, if you will,
Right.
with a 6,000 hour time frame. So I think this return we'll have to look at how to improve TCO, and
Right.
this is one example, for instance, in terms of how we can do more for the customer, right? While their
Right.
cost of acquisition will be higher in terms of CV5, the machines need to come in fewer number of times. And obviously that means two things. That means that they can work in the field longer. And
Right.
two, they don't have to pay for the intermediate for the five service intervals that we have avoided, bringing down
Right.
from 12 to 7 as the target. The second thing is basically the service guarantees also continue, so that our 48-hour guarantee continues with a penalty on us, 20 sorry 1,000 rupees per day beyond the 48
Right.
hours of breakdown. So
Right.
it's not so much the money, as you very well know, but we want to make sure that we put a penalty on ourselves.